I look up, and sure enough, 50 feet above me is another Bonanza about to literally land on top of me. So this story dates back 6 or 7 years to when I was a newbie private pilot, fresh out the womb. My mentor at the time is a Bonanza owner and a big Bonanza dealer in the West Coast. So I had just gotten my license and he wanted to get me up to speed in the Bonanzas. So we took the airplane down to a little uncontrolled airport with no control tower just south of San Jose. It's called Hollister. And not much goes on down there, except, of course, for when we were down there, which definitely adds some stress to already trying to get used to a Bonanza, which is, for a new private pilot, considerably more airplane than what I'm used to. So I'm sitting in the left seat. Jim, my mentor, sitting in the right seat, kind of talking me through all the procedures and flows in regards to entering the pattern and flying a stabilized approach. So as he's explaining all this to me, I look off to my left and I see an airplane taking off, which, I didn't think much of it, but it was rather peculiar as I didn't hear anything over the CTAF. So we carry on. Obviously, we're scanning the area visually and going through our flows, putting the gear down, our checklists. And we fly a completely normal stabilized approach. I extend my downwind a little bit just to give myself some extra time to get situated and stabilized. And essentially, as we're on short final, maybe 300 or 400 feet above the ground, there's an airplane that is holding short of the runway, which I saw, and he comes on the radio, and he goes, "There's 2 airplanes on final." And I'm thinking, how could that be? I'm the only one in the pattern right now. There's been no one else making radio calls, anything like that. I look up, and sure enough, maybe 50 feet above me is another Bonanza about to literally land on top of me. Obviously, it took both of us by surprise. I reacted immediately by pushing the control yoke down and offsetting to the left to avoid this guy who was about to come crashing on top of me. After that evasive maneuver, I look over to my left as this individual is continuing his approach and lands, obviously not saying anything, having no clue that we were there the whole time. So obviously after that I was pretty shaken up, but we busted out the landings and got me qualified in the airplane. Afterwards though, I was able, due to the close proximity of this airplane to mine, I was able to read the aircraft's N number, to which I called the owner and explained what happened. Turns out it belonged to a flying club. It was one of their members receiving instruction at the time, and explained the whole situation. And we had a pretty long phone call discussing what happened, how this could have been prevented, and some lessons learned. And there are some pretty good lessons that can be learned from an event like this. I think the biggest takeaways are, as the pilot in my position, I never assume just because I don't hear anybody else on the frequency that there's no one else there. Obviously, you're not required to talk on the CTAF at an uncontrolled airport. Obviously, it's good practice. However, in this case, the gentleman claims he was just on the wrong frequency, so he had misdialed like a 2.5 as a 5 or something like that. So he was off barely, but it obviously he was on the completely wrong frequency and we couldn't hear him. Situational awareness visually is super important at an uncontrolled airport for the same reason. And so we were lucky that situational awareness from another airplane ended up saving our life, because had this guy not said anything over the frequency warning me of that other airplane, I might not be here today, because we probably only had a few seconds to spare to get out of this guy's way. So always be alert and fly safe.